everyone, this is Lori from the Crafting Auntie, and I'm back with you with a fun project I came up with. I've been obsessed with windows, I've been obsessed with window scenes, and so I am using a few kits of Carolyn's Musings. So I'm using Vintage Country Charm, and that's where all of these pieces came from. Let me just give you a little closer look. And I decided to take some of these pieces and create an outdoor scene in a frame. This one I did not add any acetate, but I added glossy accents. And I also added a little bit of snow down here in some of the little areas around here. And the snow I'm using has a little bit of glitter in it. And then I added some lace around the edge. Now this one I did a little different and it was much harder to do. So I came up with a little bit easier idea of how to put these together. So I want to do one that is now an outdoor scene. Now I'm using also a couple other kits. So the plaid paper and the plaid paper comes from Vintage Country Charm. That is also the plaid. So there's this green one and I'm using a red. And then this background here and the one I'm going to use on the indoor one comes from Cozy Winter Add-on Paper. So all of these will be linked below so you can go check them out. Okay, so I have all my stuff prepared. And so what we want to do is you want to use a pretty thick chipboard for the backing piece. So the chipboard that I have here is 5 3/8 by 7 inches. And then also the piece that's going to go on top is the same size. And these have little faint Christmas trees that I thought would be fun, kind of like thinking it's wallpaper in the house. So all you need to do is glue this down to this. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And that's going to be like the inside of the house. The second piece, you want the same size. So that is 5 3/8 by 7. And now we're going to turn this into a frame. So the easiest way to do that is to take your ruler. I wanted to have a 1/2 inch all the way around. So all you have to do is make some marks, 1/2 inch. I'm just going to make 2 on each side and then we're going to connect them. Okay, now all we need to do is cut this out. Now you can use an X-Acto knife, you can use, make some lines this way and cut around with your scissors. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to go ahead and just use my knife and follow the same lines. Okay, so now we have our frame. So let me just kind of give you an idea. So this is going to go on top of here and our scene is going to go inside. Now what I did on this first one is I mitered corners, I had extra edges, I folded over, but then I ended up putting lace on it. So I felt, why should I do that? Why should I make it more difficult? So we're just going to use double-sided puff tape to go around the whole thing, and then we're going to add the lace anyway. So that's what I changed because I found that the other one just was a little bit too cumbersome and I wanted to make this as simple as I could for anyone who wants to give it a try. So I'm just going to ink my inside here of the frame and then I'm going to add the acetate and get that all taken care of. I think I need to put a new pad on my inking pad. Okay, so let's add our acetate. And now we have our window. So there's our window. And I just got some off of Amazon. Comes in a huge roll like this, but I think I'll have it forever. So I'm just going to take one of these out. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to add the puff tape to the whole entire frame. And it depends on the thickness you want. I think this thickness is pretty good, but if you want it to be higher, you would just double this up. So all I'm going to do is, and I want it to go to the outside edge of my frame. I really thought the lace actually finished off the frame on the first one. Okay, so we've got that all done. So now this is going to be popped up when we get it down, and it's going to give you that little bit of dimension. Now if you find you need more dimension, we're just going to add another layer. I'm going to see how it goes because we're going to be popping up all these things underneath, so I'm not really sure if I'm going to need another layer or not. I'm just going to clean up that edge. Okay, so this is going to be the inside of our house. So here's what I came up with. I have this fireplace and a little dog that's going to be sleeping in front of the fireplace, and I got to make sure where I'm putting these as to where the frame is going. And then we have a tree. I thought tree. And then I have a wreath, and maybe we could slide some of this over and add the wreath there. I thought about covering up the fireplace with it, but then I didn't really care for that. So if I put my frame on, I've got my little window scene. And all I'm going to do is use some puff squares that I have. I also got these off of Amazon, and these are black. I like the fact that sometimes you get a darker color so that you don't really see it. So all I'm going to do is add some of these to the back, and then we're going to make sure we get it in the spot that we want it, and then we're going to go ahead and glue it down. So we'll put that one there. Let's see. I'm wondering if I should glue down the fireplace and then pop up the tree and the dog. Maybe that's an option. So let's go ahead and add a bunch of these to our tree. If you have longer pieces of puff tape, like I do use the ones that I get from Home Depot, which is mounting tape, you can use that. I just thought I would use these because I have some small, tiny areas. So if we have that popped up, and then yeah, I think I like that with the fireplace down. Oh, I got one stuck to my nail. Okay. And then let's do our little dog. So once you figure out what you want to make your scene out of, they go together rather quickly. And I think I want this to come kind of in front, and this. Then let's check it with our frame. I think I like that. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is glue down my fireplace. Now you can always add some glossy accents to this before you actually put the frame on. I'm not going to do it this time, only because of time constraints, but you certainly could do that beforehand. So let's Put this, make sure it's straight. Okay, so we got that down. Now let's reassess our situation here. Yeah, I like that. Okay, let's get her dog down. He's so cute. There's so many amazing fussy cuts in this kit. It was really easy to kind of figure out putting a scene together. You have all of these. I mean, you really get a lot. So you could make all kinds of little scenes, indoor or outdoor. I thought I would do that outdoor one, and then I definitely want to do this indoor one. But gosh, you could do so many different ones. Now, what can you do with these? Well, you could put them on the front of your journal. You could also put them on maybe the inside covers as just a scene in there. That's pretty much what I would do. You could do it as a standalone if you wanted to, but I think it'd be really fun on a Christmas journal, a cozy Christmas type journal. Have one of these scenes on the front as your cover, or as you open up your journal, you could put actually one in the front and then on the inside cover and one in the back. And that gives you some fun interest when you open up your journal to look at. Yeah, so there's some ideas. You could probably put it on the inside of your journal. Just remember, it's going to add some bulk. Okay, so I want my tree to kind of be in front to the side of the fireplace. All right. And I think we're okay as far as the thickness on our frame. So the next thing, just peel all of this off. And we'll put this together. So they go together once you have everything figured out of what you want to do and you have your frame cut. You could do all that kind of stuff up ahead of time. And then just match it up and press that down. So it gives you a 3D little window. Now I have a couple other things I want to add. So I thought it'd be fun to add this little snowman, like he's outside. So I'm going to pop him up as well. He's got these really delicate little hands here, so I'm hoping I can add one of these squares to the larger part of the hands, or you wouldn't see it, and that would keep him from those breaking, hopefully. Yeah, that works. You can't see them, so that's good. Okay, so let's put a couple more of these on, and then let's pop him up. Now these things are on the outside. You can still add a glossy accents or snow or anything else you want to, because you're not under the acetate. But if you want to do the other, make sure you do it before you actually add your frame on. Careful with his little mittens there. My hands have glue, so they're kind of sticky. I've been busy this morning. Okay, so let's pop him up like right here. You can still see the puppy. Okay, and then I have a couple of poinsettias that I thought maybe we could do something like that. But before I do this, I want to add some lace. So I have this lace. I also get this from Amazon. Let me just close up my glue and clear out some of these backings from the double-sided. And it's a really narrow lace, so it worked out really well. So I'm just going to add it like this. So it'll give it a nice little frame and on the edge. It'll make it fun on the outside of your journal. But let's see, I want a solid piece, hopefully. That one's just a small piece. Okay, so I'm going to start here at the bottom at the edge. And I am going to use the Fabri-Tac Fabri-Fix glue. Like so. And I will trim that after it's dry. Okay, so there we have that. So now you can see it is framed in. If you don't like this standing up, you can add another layer of puff tape. That would be fine. The other option you could do is have a lace that is not as wide. So you could do that, but I like the way this looks. Okay, so now that I've got that on there, let's see if these are going to work. I think they will. I think it just kind of frames it in if I just do them like that. What do you think? I don't think it's too much. In fact, I don't think I'm going to pop them up. I think I'm just going to glue them down. So I'm just going to add some glue right here on the corner of the frame. And then, let's see, I think I want it like that. Yeah. And then let's do a little bit over here and glue that down. I like it. I think it came out cute. Okay, so let's look at both of these. So you have a couple of options. Once you figure out what you want to do to build your scene, then you just put it together. So I gave you the dimensions on these, but honestly, you can use whatever dimensions your journal might be for the outside, for the cover, or for the inside. And you could go from there. Now this one, because this one was higher up, I used a thicker 1/4 inch puff tape. I was able to put these right on the corner. Because this one is a little lower, I think next time what I would do is probably add another layer of that 1/4 inch puff tape, since this is a little bit thinner, and then it would pop up even more. But actually, I love it. I think it came out really cute. You've got a 3-dimensional frame to put on the front of your journal or inside. So if I were to just grab one of my, this is my ideas journal. If I were to just set this on here, you could put this on here like that, or you could open it up and you could put it inside here. Now what you want to make sure is you just have enough space here on your spine. So you may have to make your spine a little bit larger, but you can do that as well. Or you can make it narrower and don't put the lace on. Maybe you put a flat ribbon around. So those are some options that you could do. You could use just a strip of ribbon where it doesn't pop up like this, and then you could put that on the inside of your covers. Okay, so here are the 2 frames, one that I did off camera, one we did together. And I may add some glossy accents and things on these, and that's going to be pretty much about it. Maybe a little bit of snow, but not too much. But anyway, that is my cute little scene frames. I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you give it a try. I will link all the kits from Carolyn below, and that way you guys can kind of create your own little scenes. I would love to see it. So Carolyn Musings has her Etsy shop. She also has on Facebook Carolyn's Musings, and then we have one way journals group that Carolyn Musings has. So yeah, share your frames there. I would love to see them. Okay, you guys have a great day. God bless you all. Bye.